What's up everybody, it's Sean here back today to give you a review of the Air Jordan 14 Retro in the Ferrari colorway. This sees the return of the Air Jordan 14 Ferrari, which originally released back in 2014. Fast forward over a decade later, Jordan Brand is bringing these back in full family sizing, and they're set to drop on June 14th for a price of $215 US or $270 here in Canada. The official colorway for this shoe is Challenge Red and Black, and these will be available at most Air Jordan retailers, including The Closet Inc. here in Canada. The Closet Inc. is my go-to shop for Jordans and Nike Retros. They're independently owned and operated, and they're based right here in Southern Ontario in Canada. So for all my Canadian viewers out there, if you want to show support for a local independent shop, check out The Closet Inc. I'll link their socials, their website, all of that good stuff down below. So check them out and tell them that you heard about them through my channel. So as we know, the Jordan 14 in general draws inspiration from a Ferrari, but this colorway takes it to the next level, and it's said to be inspired by Michael Jordan's iconic Ferrari 550M, which explains why the shoe is draped completely in this bold red colored suede. So jumping into the details of the shoe itself, like I mentioned, the majority of the upper, this is crafted entirely out of red suede, but to the touch, this suede doesn't really feel premium whatsoever. It honestly has a bit of a scratchy feel to it, and I never owned the OG, so I really can't compare head to head how the quality compares, but safe to say I wasn't overly impressed with the materials for the 2025 Retro. Either way though, we still have a black mini Jumpman logo embroidered right in the center of the toe box. And then unlike typical Jordan 14s where we have this ribbed finish to it, for these Ferrari 14s they're completely left smooth, so it looks very simple. Towards the back on the lateral side only, we have the Ferrari inspired shield logo, which has Jordan branding instead. This is done predominantly in yellow. But on the medial side there is no Jordan branding here, so it's literally just a large piece of red suede. Running down the bottom of the heel, we have this large black colored overlay with yellow colored Jumpman and 23 branding, and then on the very top of the heel, we have this thin layer which feels like a black colored neoprene. In terms of laces, this pair only comes with one lace option. They're an oval shaped black colored lace, but they do have these metallic silver lace tips, which give the shoe a little bit more of a premium feel and finish. Beneath this, the tongue is covered in what feels like a synthetic black colored suede. On the tongue itself, we do have some perforations, and then on the top of the tongue, this is covered in this woven material which almost looks like a seatbelt. And then we have this yellow bar across the top with Jordan branding wrapping around it. And then on the back side, we have the Roman numerals for the number 14. The interior of the shoe, this is cut in an asymmetrical fashion, so it's lower on the lateral side, and this is covered in a black colored liner. And then for the insoles, these come with a pretty thin foam lined insole, but you'll see how there's actually a secondary layer of foam covering the forefoot as well as the heel. So the upper of these Jordan 14s sits atop a Phylon foam midsole, and the midsole is painted in black, but we have this faux carbon fiber look to it, covering certain portions. So you'll see the teeth that wrap up and onto the toe box. This is there not only to give you lateral and medial support, but it also looks pretty dope too with this carbon fiber finish. And then you'll see how the metallic shank plate, this wraps up and onto the middle area of the midsole, and this is given this chrome-like finish. Encased within this midsole but not visible to the eye, we do have Nike Zoom Air. There's two distinct units, one that sits underneath your forefoot and one that sits underneath your heel. And then one thing that I've always loved about the Jordan 14 is that on the medial side, you'll see how the midsole has this cutaway, revealing a vent hole, which is another design aspect that pays homage to high performance race cars. Finally, turning the shoe over to the bottom, so the outsole here is done entirely in black colored rubber, except we do have a circular hit of yellow colored rubber on the forefoot with the Roman numerals for 14. So running from heel to toe, we have this herringbone style traction pattern. And underneath this, like I mentioned earlier, we have this shank plate. This is done in this metallic silver finish, and we have a red colored Jumpman in the center. And this helps the wearer with torsional rigidity and midfoot support. So that breaks down the look and the construction of this pair. And for those wondering about how these fit, to me these fit like most Air Jordan 14s, so I personally go true to size. I'm a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. I got these in a size 10 and they fit me very comfortably. So I feel like if you have a narrow, normal, or slightly wide foot, you can go true to size in these. If you have like a really wide foot, you might be better off going up half a size. But long story short, whatever size you normally wear for Jordan 14s, I'd stick with that exact same size for this pair. Moving on to the comfort, so these feel like any other Air Jordan 14, which in my opinion is a very comfortable Jordan retro. First of all, it feels a lot more lightweight than it looks. This is one of those shoes where when I'm wearing them, eventually it almost feels like I don't even remember I'm rocking them. And besides the fact that they're very lightweight, you can feel the individual pods of Zoom Air underneath the forefoot and the heel. So with each step, you can feel that bounciness and the responsiveness. So I know Jordan 14s aren't necessarily the most popular Air Jordan Retro out there, but for me, I find them to be pretty underrated. I've always felt that they're very comfortable, but that's just my opinion, so your mileage may vary. Finally, in terms of the quality and the craftsmanship, so first off, material quality, unfortunately, like I've mentioned earlier, was really nothing special. The suede used I thought was the biggest disappointment. It really has this scratchy, thin feel to it. And again, maybe that's just how the OGs were in 2014. I unfortunately never owned a pair of those, but just judging this 2025 Retro alone, I just didn't feel overly impressed. The build quality of the shoe I thought was okay. There really wasn't any major issues or flaws that I could see. So while the materials weren't the best, I thought the overall build of the shoe, it wasn't bad whatsoever. So with all of that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet, I'll lace them up, and I'll show you guys how these look. All in all, this is a very bold colorway of the Air Jordan 14. I can really see how this fit the style of 2014, but fast forward to 2025, I just can't really see myself wearing a red shoe like this, especially because I don't own a Ferrari, and there's just something about rocking apparel that pays homage to really expensive or luxury car brands that I just can't get behind. I know this isn't a direct collaboration with Ferrari or anything like that, but the point still stands. When you look at the shoe, it just screams a Ferrari. And yeah, I just can't see myself really rocking a shoe that looks like this right now. But it's still a pretty dope colorway. I think it looks better on other people's feet and it looks great on a shelf. But in terms of an actual wearability standpoint, I think the $215 US that I'm putting towards this shoe could be better spent elsewhere. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this Air Jordan 14 Retro in this 2025 Ferrari colorway? What are your overall thoughts on this? When these drop on the 14th, do you plan on copying these? Is this gonna be a game time decision, or are you gonna pass on them because you're just not a fan of them? As usual, if you guys enjoyed this review, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I'll link all of my social media accounts. They're all linked down below for you guys to check me out and follow. And another huge thank you goes out to The Closet Inc. So thank you everyone for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review, and I'll catch everybody in my next video.